Firms say it's going to 135. Obamacare. Well, that's the gift that keeps giving. Now forcing restaurants, supermarkets, grocery stores, even movie theaters and vending machine operators to put calorie counts in their menus. Obviously, this is going to cost a ton of money. Some companies say it will cost jobs as well. Joining us now, jacq, who's a registered dietitian and works with Foodtown Supermarkets and owns a kickboxing gym. Golly, you don't need calorie counts. That's for the rest of us.
We burn it at CKL. That's the way we do it.
I hear you. All right, now, we're a business channel. We focus particularly on small businesses here. That's the core of our audience. They believe in that bootstrap thing, you know, the American dream.
Sure.
All of these regulations, it's just an avalanche. You have to make a small business restaurant owner go out there and reprint all of their menus when we kind of know that fettuccine, you know, certain fettuccine.
Sure.
I mean, what are they teaching us? Isn't this heavy-handed stuff?
Well, the purpose of this new policy is the FDA is making a claim, if you will, that these new calorie counts are going to help people make informed choices about their food selection.
But they couldn't do that before. Like, I just could not discern the difference between the burger, the cheeseburger, and the salad. I just couldn't figure out which one was good for me and which one wasn't.
Definitely. Yeah. You certainly can. And most individuals would understand that a double bacon cheeseburger is going to have a lot more calories than, say, a chicken salad.
Right.
Most people understand that.
Right.
I think that it boils down to the issue becoming when people feel confused at a restaurant situation or when they're making a selection on a daily basis. About a third of Americans make their food choices outside of the home. So they're being presented with all these different options, and a lot of people are simply confused about what the best option for them is. And I think that the sole purpose of this calorie counting is they're assuming that people are going to make better choices as a result of knowing what that calorie count is.
Yeah, I read a study, I think Starbucks paid for it, and they said people, you know, lower their calories by 6% initially, but I think ultimately, you know, this would be, we'll say, golly, why did we go through this? I mean, you got this guy, you know, Charlie? I mean, you've been to the best restaurants in New York City. He's got a poster in all of them.
I would say this. There's a new invention. It's called the Google. If you are worried about your ham sandwich, how many calories are in the ham sandwich, put the word ham sandwich calories in the Google, and you'll figure it out.
Sort of like the internet.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's really scary, some of the stuff that's going on with Obamacare. Besides this, if you go to talk to doctors, my brother's is a critical care physician, when you cut your hand now, okay, in the old days, it was a code they used to have to write down for insurance policy purposes so the hospital can get the money on insurance. It says you cut your hand, you know, hand cut. Now you have to specify exactly how you cut your hand. There are 15 classifications of hand cuts that you have to go through. Each one of those classifications might mean less money being delivered to the hospital from the insurance company. This is what Obamacare, it is creating so much confusion and bureaucratic red tape that the costs, you know, when they say it's saving money, well, we don't know, because the costs are going to be borne out over a number of years.
I think that was the argument, because we went from this being sold to us as something that would be an economic thing, and then being sold to us like, you know what, forget about the money. It's just the right thing to do. Where do you come in on that?
That may be true. It may feel like it's the right thing to do. And overall, if it was a very economically sound way of presenting nutrition information to people, I would say, yeah, let's do it. But at the end of the day, there are hundreds of applications that help people make healthier choices every day. Are people using them? I don't know.
Yeah, Jacqueline, aren't there things that are even more important than the calories themselves? I mean, I think the sodium is more important as far as I'm concerned. I think, you know, it depends on where you get your fat from. I mean, isn't there so many things? Or could we just be on the cusp of something even more daunting, ultimately, like the 50-page menu, because each one has a list of all this stuff?
First of all, the general person doesn't even know what a calorie is. Let's just get that out of the way. Second, when it comes to controlling weight, calories is what matters. Calories in equals calories out. You're maintaining. It's a numbers game. In terms of the other nutrients that you find on a food label, sodium, cholesterol, now that's going to be driven more towards people that have chronic conditions and need to manage, for example, blood pressure, et cetera. And unfortunately, that's not going to be part of this
But when
plan.
you open this up to bureaucrats who are insane, you know they're insane because they need stuff to do. Let's face it, they're going to micromanage this they're going to cut down fat, the type of fat, 15 different ways to Sundays. The menus are going to be like, this thick. Forget about, remember the wine list at some good restaurants? The menus are going to be.
And to that point, Jacqueline, I'm also worried about this slippery slope. Where do we go? Because this to me seems like part of a longer term thing where you have a person like a Bloomberg who it's not good enough for you to know what's bad for you, but for them to regulate them, maybe portion size, maybe penalties, maybe you'll have to pay extra tax if you insist on something with higher calories. I mean, maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but that's the road I think we're on.
I hope not, because then that creates an unhealthy attitude about food. And from where I stand, food is meant to be enjoyed within moderation, and that word moderation means different things to different people. But ultimately, you need to understand how often you're eating out, what choices you're making, what's best for you and your lifestyle. And
but why do you need the government telling? I mean, here's what I'm worried about. We're spending so much time on this nonsense. This is nonsense. This stuff is information that's readily available. As someone who looks this stuff up all the time. We should be worrying about cancer and stuff that really matters. We have our health. We have major problems in terms of health care in this country, and we're worrying about this.
Yeah, well,
right.
Unfortunately, we all don't kickbox, Charlie.
Yes.
We're not all brilliant about our health. Jacqueline, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.